If the spirit of ecstasy, the radiator and the badge identify the exterior of a Rolls Royce, it's wood and leather which identify the interior. Traditional materials and traditional craftsmanship have been a part of the appeal of the marque since the earliest days, and it is the continuity between those old styles and the interiors of today's motor cars which is one of the most formidable weapons in Rolls-Royce's selling armoury. The very Englishness of the highly polished wood and the sweet-smelling leather is a quality much prized in export markets. The process of creating a Rolls-Royce interior begins in the same way that so many other production operations at Crewe begin, by selecting only the best. Upholstery hides come from living animals, and like anything else in nature, no two are exactly similar. It is the tanner's job to dye each hide to an exact colour match, but it is the job of the cutters in the upholstery department to ensure that there are no blemishes to spoil the look or the wearing quality of the seats and the other leather-covered areas of a motor car's interior. When one considers that 13 hides can be used to trim a saloon, and 18 will find their way into a limousine, it becomes clear that this is no minor operation. It takes many different leather shapes to complete an interior, and if there are any minor imperfections in a hide, it is up to the individual leather cutter to spot them. He must then ensure that the faults lie in the areas between the shapes cut out by the sharp-edged templates. They are then left in the waste leather, which goes off to be recycled into other products. The cutter's job is made a little easier by the fact that the hides come only from cattle raised in Scandinavia. Scandinavian breeders don't use barbed wire in their fences, so there are fewer scratch marks on the hides. The art of being able to look at a hide and visualize just how to arrange the templates in order that the maximum number of pieces can be cut from one large piece of leather takes years of experience. Ensuring that all those pieces come up to Rolls-Royce's rigorous quality standards takes just a little longer. Not surprisingly, much of the actual sewing involved in the upholstery is carried out by ladies. They work not only on the seats and trim panels, but also on the carpets. Skilled hands are still the most important tools in trimming a Rolls Royce, whether the job is edging a carpet or shaping a seat cushion. Forming the piping which will add a dash of colour to the finished upholstery is one of the few jobs which are done mechanically. Little has changed in the way in which the interior of the motor car of today is upholstered and trimmed, but the seats themselves and the frames upon which they are built have changed enormously. Today's seats must meet with safety legislation which governs their strength and behaviour in a crash test, and they must also provide the high degree of comfort and adjustment which is expected in a luxury motor car. Motors to provide adjustment in every plane, heating elements and electronic sensors all have their place in today's seats, and it has even been known for a customer to specify that small TV screens should be mounted in the backs of the drivers' and passengers' headrests. Complying with all these requirements means that the job of today's upholsterers and trimmers is often as much involved with relays and switches as it is with the needle and thread. If there is one job in the Crewe factory which has changed less than all others with the onset of greater technology, it is that of the craftsmen who create the wood trim. Ever since men have made furniture, the natural beauty of wood has been prized as a decorative effect, and in this respect nothing has changed between the Edwardian silver ghosts and today's 155 mile an hour flying spur. The charm of the dash and interior trim still relies on the haphazard beauty of the whorls and curlicues of fine wood. Working with that wood is a fine balance between modernity and classic techniques. The classic techniques ensure that all the wood used in the interior of one motor car matches, with the pattern on both sides of the vehicle's centerline presenting a mirror image of that which is opposite. They ensure that the veneer, only a few hundredths of an inch in thickness, is mounted on a base which will keep it straight and true year after year. But one of the most fascinating of those traditional techniques is that which sees a boxwood inlay, no thicker than a matchstalk, which will appear beneath its coats of varnish to be so completely a part of the panel which it decorates, that to the untrained eye there will be a difficulty in realizing that it is in fact a separate piece of wood. The artistic way in which the craftsmen combine two or more different veneers with inlays is one of the most attractive aspects of a Rolls Royce interior. After the wood has been finally sanded, its rich final finish is achieved by painstaking application of several coats of lacquer, each one sanded to perfection to arrive at that deep final gloss. All the coach building and trimming skills are brought into play in the department at Crewe which deals with special-bodied motor cars. Here the limousines and convertibles receive the final attention which their limited production and specialised clientele require. These, to an even greater degree than other Rolls Royces, are motor cars made to measure, the crème de la crème. The degree of hand finishing which is involved in these models calls into play all the traditional coach building skills as they put the finishing touches to an engineering tour de force. The work involved in this convertible top combines the most modern technology with more traditional skills. Modern electronics play a role in the micro switches and logic processes which enable the task of raising or lowering the top to be carried out at the touch of a single button. More traditional engineering skills come into play in designing and making a frame which will move smoothly and certainly, time after time. And finally, when the framework has been installed and tested to perfection, it is the turn of the upholsterers. They will equip the hood with an outer cover, insulation and headlining which, when erected, will make the driver and passengers feel as cocooned in luxury as they would in any fixed head motor car.